Hey everyone, it's Karen. I have not been on BookTube for a minute. Basically, I was just really busy, and then I just had a little break, and then after the break, I was gonna film, but life was hell last week. So, quick update. Last week was like the full moon, lunar eclipse. It was in my sun and my moon, so I don't know if that means anything, but I just know last week was horrible. So quickly tell you about it, and then I will tell you what I did to heal my heart. Basically, on Monday, I overly advocated for a student and was borderline aggressive. Then on Tuesday, we got to school and we were supposed to have a meeting, but it was canceled because one of our students died the night before. So there's that. It was not one of my students, but it was a student at our school. And if you work at a school, or if you can just imagine, that impacts the whole school, not just those that have that student in class. And then the same day, I found out that my parapro was not going to be at work. Parapro is like somebody that helps with students with special needs. And it's no big deal because the reason that she was absent is something she's absent for from time to time. I wasn't that worried about her until later when I found out all the details. And if you want to know all the details, I am happy to talk to you on VOXER or on Instagram, either. But basically the summary is that she is very, 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 very ill. I thought she was gonna die. I don't think she is now, which is absolutely amazing given what she has gone through. But she is in ICU, she's sedated, and basically her brain will not stop having seizures, and they're just trying to get her brain to stop having seizures so that they can get a really good idea regarding the level of the brain damage that she experienced as a result of what happened to her. So, the news today sounds pretty good. It sounds like basically, despite everything that she's gone through, that the scans are good, but they're not perfect by any means. And I'm just looking to get more information about specifically what that means and all that sort of stuff. I am just amazed that a week later, she is still alive. And I'm so grateful. But anyway, the week just kind of continued with me being very worried about her the whole week and the weekend, and I ended up being sick over the weekend because sometimes emotional things impact me physically as well. And anyway, guys, I bought books, okay? It's a bad choice. I don't recommend this. There are other ways to heal your heart than buying books, but I did go way overboard, and I would like to admit to you my transgressions and just confess to you the things that I've purchased because they brought me joy. Okay, so I got, this is a nice matte cover, which I love. American Primitive by Mary Oliver. I've not heard of this one, but I eat her up. I love her poems so much. I love her essays. I love absolutely everything about her. And I had no idea the cover was going to be this beautiful. So that's a very nice surprise. I got Pure Color by Sheila Heti, which I've heard a lot of people talking about. I had access to that before publication, but did not get to it. Edna O'Brien, The Light of Evening. I should sort these later by fiction and nonfiction. Annie Proulx, Close Range. I think this is about Wyoming. And then, because that book is about Wyoming, I also decided I need Lonesome Dove in my life, which is something I have zero interest in, but everyone who's read it has said they have zero interest in this. They read it, and it was amazing and one of the best books of their life, so we'll see how that one goes. Then I have Isabel Allende's In the Midst of Winter. Isabel Allende's My Invented Country, which is a memoir, so that'll be interesting to hear her speaking about, I think, the immigrant experience or the expat experience. I'm not really sure her history. A Book About Books by the author of Lonesome Dove. Apparently I was on an Isabel Allende kick because I also got Paula, which is another memoir of hers, and The Sum of Our Days, which is another memoir by hers. I need to learn to heal my heart in different ways, I think. Rebel Writers, Accidental Feminist. This is a book that I just found randomly by browsing. We'll see how it is. It kind of sounds amazing. Then I got On Freedom by Maggie Nelson, which I think is essays. I think she's a poet, but I believe that book is essays. Okay, I'm on my second box. There are 3 total. This picture book I never heard of, but it was like $1 and it looks absolutely beautiful. It's called Wild Peace. I have been reading a lot of picture books to my students this year. Amity and Prosperity, which is totally Heidi's fault. She recommended this book and it was still on Book Outlet, so I got it. This book, Surrender White People. Much needed, I'm sure. Toni Morrison's. This is essays, speeches, etc. And I am a huge essay person, so it'll be really interesting to hear all the stuff that she has to say. Like, she's probably the wisest person in the world. Silence and Silences by Wallace Wild Menozzi. I got this tiny one, No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. I've heard people say that this is like good, like one of her speeches is good, but then the whole thing just ends up being repetitive. But you know what? I feel like it was one that was like $1, and like this girl, she is amazing. I don't care if it's repetitive. Like, yeah. Then I got On My Own by Diane Rehm. It's signed. It was also like $1, and Diane Rehm sounds like a really interesting person. I've heard her talk about the right to death, and I don't know if she mentions that or discusses that in this book. I kind of think she does, which is a whole interesting topic that I have loads of feelings on, both liberal and conservative in the same regard, because I could see it going either way, and I have all sorts of thoughts. The Pull of the Stars, which I've already read but do not own, and now I do, because my favorite books I need to have on my shelves. Then The Accident on the A35, which I think is like a historical mystery sort of a thing. And then I can't remember who it was, but someone said they read another book by this author and it was amazing. So I went on looking for it and couldn't find it. But then I saw this book that the author wrote, The Gifted School. It's by Bruce Holisinger. And so I thought I would try this one if the other book by him was so good. Last box, but the biggest box. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one I thought would be really interesting for me to read, and then also for my dad, because I think it's like a graphic novel or a picture book about Parkinson's. Oh, it's definitely a graphic novel sort of thing. And I don't know, the print seems really small. I'm not sure that he'll actually be able to conquer this unless he has some sort of a magnifying glass or something. But yeah, I think that this sort of thing could be super helpful for someone that has it, just to like feel seen, not necessarily for information, but we'll see what it says in there. And then One Girl, which I feel like I've seen this cover everywhere, but I don't actually know what it's about. The Faithful Spy, which I've heard people talking about. I think it's a graphic novel. It is. Haben. It's about a deaf-blind woman who conquered Harvard. Like, there's a program I actually really want to go into in Harvard. It's a master's program on mind-brain education that combines like neuroscience with education, and like there's no way I could get in. And then this woman is deaf and blind, and I think she's probably the most amazing human. Then Paul Theroux, On the Plane of Snakes. I have read his travel writing before, and it's actually really good. So actually, DD travel writing, maybe he's good. I don't know. But this one I feel like is about his journey along like the Mexican-American border. And so I feel like it will be super relevant and really important to read. But I do think he's like a white guy, so that plays into things as well. Yeah, he looks like a cowboy. Hang on. So we'll see kind of what his thoughts are on the situation at the border. This is Perception, How Our Bodies Shape Our Minds. Then, oh my gosh, this book I started, loved, and then I think I had to return it to the library or something. Black Women's History of the United States. I felt like when I started this book before that I heard a lot of stories that I'd never heard before, so not talking about like the big well-known people. I'm sure they're in here as well, but it was just like other stories that I wasn't familiar with that we probably should be. Migrations, I think this is about climate change. Not too sure though. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if this is based on a true story. Oh, it is. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes tells the true story of Grace Humison, the lawyer, detective, and first woman U.S. District Attorney who turned her back on New York society life to become one of the nation's greatest crime fighters during an era where women were still not allowed to vote. This sounds so good for Nonfiction November. After agreeing to take the sensational case of a missing 18-year-old Ruth Kruger, Grace and her partner, the hard-boiled detective Julius J. Cron, navigated a dangerous web of secret boyfriends, two-faced cops, underground tunnels, rumors of white slavery, a mysterious pale man in a desperate race against time. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes is the first ever narrative biography of the singular woman in the press nicknamed after fiction's greatest detective. Her poignant story reveals the important clues about missing girls, the media, and the real truth of crime stories. Oh my gosh. I need to decide like tonight after this, am I like cozy reading to finish like my book for book club, which is Mississippi Solo, which is amazing, about this black dude that like decided without any canoeing experience to go from Minnesota down the Mississippi River all the way to Louisiana. So do I finish that or do I start one of these? That is the question. Return by Kamal Al-Soleili. I'm super interested about this one because this is about like moving away and then coming back to where you came from. I'm sure it involves more international stuff, but also like from my experience, I did move away from Michigan and then come back. And so I'm just interested about this topic of moving away and coming home, and like, do you ever actually come home, or has home changed in the time that you have been gone? So many questions, so many things to think about. Run, book 1. Almost done. Half Blown Rose. Now, I think this is romance. I'm not into romance, but this author, Lisa Cross Smith, she is so cozy. Like, she purposely adds in all these cozy vibes, candles, blankets, etc. And she has said that she does that on purpose. She just wants her books to feel like really warm and cozy. And I think Sarah from Your True Shelf already read this one. Not sure, I'm gonna have to check. But I'm hoping it's as good as her previous one, because that one was so amazing. And like perfect for this time of year too, when you're just like, you know, it's dark, it's gloomy, it's snowy, you just want to be in, tucked in, reading a good book. And then finally, I got The Tangled Tree, A Radical New History of Life. I feel like this is something Heidi would read. Maybe she already has, I'm not sure. Anyway, that is how I apparently handle my life's problems. So, good news, I still have money left. And I'm hoping my friend is on the mend, but best case scenario, she has a really, really long road ahead of her. So if you are a praying sort of person, her name is Jessica. Please be thinking of her, praying for her, sending her good vibes, whatever you do. She is an amazing person. She is so hilarious. She's like really short, but she has like this big personality, and she's always making people laugh and making them smile, and she's always just like saying like smart, like witty, like not just like smart as in like sassy. She'll say like sassy things all the time, and I freaking love her so much. One more thing I should say about her, just so you know a little bit more about her, is we had a student last year, behavior problems. She turned that child's life around to where he was like a different kid. Like the behavior problems he had before were just gone. Kid this year was not in the classroom at all. Now all of a sudden he's in the classroom all the time. He doesn't leave without permission. She transforms kids' lives, and it's not just that we need her back so that she can do her work, because obviously that's very important that she touches lives in that way, but more importantly, like, she is an amazing person and she has her own kids, and like the world just needs her back because she is such an amazing person. So please just be thinking of her and sending her so much love. I love you guys as well, and I'm getting really excited for Vlogmas because that is coming up soon. Let me know if you're doing it, and I will see you soon. Bye.